Hello and welcome to Teaching My Cat to Read, the very serious book review podcast. I'm Eli.
I'm Em.
And I'm Lottie. And this week on our mini episode, we're discussing everything about Much Ado About Nothing by William Shakespeare. Jingle, 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 jingle.
I was about to do the bit of like, oh, but was it Shakespeare? But I was like, no, we're not relitigating the whole thing on this mini episode.
Anti-Stratfordians are banned from our podcast and our presence. We will not have them here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm all for, like, you know, thinking outside the box and stuff, but I will fist fight an anti-Stratfordian in any car park you care to name.
Will you, in fact, eat their hearts in the marketplace?
Do you know what? I would give serious consideration to the possibility, yeah. Anyway, hi guys, we're going to talk about Much Ado today.
Hey, Much Ado About Nothing.
It's been many years, because we did this in...
It has been many years.
Series 1.
My favourite Shakespeare, my favourite.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good time.
I did this for GCSE and I enjoyed it and I still like it. I am the 1%.
I did it for SATs.
Yes, I also did it for SATs. We had to do Othello for our GCSEs.
Yeah, I did Romeo and Juliet for GCSE, which was an experience.
It's not as good as Much Ado. Much Ado was peak.
Listen, I'm sure Romeo and Juliet is a perfectly good play, but my English teacher had some very odd attitudes about romance and literature and romance in literature. And I had a vendetta against her because she kept trying to make us stop reading what she called chick lit in scare quotes for quiet reading time.
Like, man, just be glad your students are reading.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, like, that shit is good.
I mean, I had an English teacher who hated the fact I read sci-fi fantasy. She didn't get it.
Well, you have all those people who think that Pratchett Discworld isn't real writing because it's always fantasy or it's escapism.
Yeah. It's like,
whatever.
You are.
Yeah, and it's like, well... Anyway... You wish you could be that good, my guy. And that is also true of, like, I think it's true of a lot of genres where people are like, oh, this isn't real literature. It's like, well, listen, it's like anything. There's good shit and there's bad shit. And the good shit is extremely fucking good and also isn't about some English professor cheating on his wife with a student, which seems to be the primary of literary fiction. That's mean. I don't read that much literary fiction. Can you tell? Can you tell?
Yeah.
I feel we need to ask the key question, though, of what is your favourite, I think, adaptation of this play / version of this play?
See, I haven't seen any new ones since we did the first episode. I was rewatching the Kenneth Branagh, Emma Thompson this evening. And weirdly, the thing it was reminding me of was the Joss Whedon one, which I've only seen once.
And now I'm kind of
curious.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
it's kind
that
of
existed.
interesting because it sort of played... I was about to say straight, but there is some powerful homoeroticism in the Don John scenes, which is also very much
But it's not as comedic, right? They're not aiming for comedy as hard?
They don't seem to be, no. It's like the Beatrice and Benedick sort of... the sense you get of their missed connection or there having been some kind of serious
Is it sort
fallout.
of played as more painful and sort of tragic?
Yeah.
I mean, I think all the, like, it's like with cooking where you want to put a bit of sweet in your savoury dishes and a bit of salt or savoury in your sweet dishes, where the best comedies have a bit of tragedy to them and vice versa. But,
yeah,
I mean, it's such a good comedy. I don't know why you'd want to play that down.
Yeah.
It stands up, I think, very well. Like, I saw this with the David Tennant and Catherine Tate production of it in London. My parents took me for my birthday, and I remember, like, because I really, really enjoyed the film version with Kenneth Branagh and Emma. Well, I remember first watching that from my SATs on my computer and the DVD player and just laughing out loud. And I think I must have watched it like every night for like a good period of time to the point where I just basically, I didn't have to learn dialogue. It'd already gone into my brain.
Yeah. I remember doing the scenes with you when we met at uni, doing the, because we both were like, oh man, we love those like the back and forth, the banter, and we could do them both off by heart. It was great.
That is such a good memory. And I remember watching this play in person, because I hadn't seen like tons of actual plays in person in London, like growing up. I think I'd seen a musical or two.
Yeah, same.
Maybe one musical. But I've never seen like a Shakespeare play like that before. And I remember when David Tennant had to give Benedick's soliloquy and he's talking to the audience, he's breaking the fourth wall. And I'm like, oh, this is the whole point of a soliloquy. I get it now. And yeah, I will always say if you are given the opportunity to go and watch a good production of a Shakespeare live, like go and just see it in person, I'd really, really recommend it, because it just, I think, even though the language is very different, a very good production of a Shakespeare play, you're kind of carried along with it anyway, even if you haven't got a effing clue what's going on, you know? You're just sort of going along with it. I remember my English teacher saying, oh, well, when this play would have been shown in the Elizabethan times, that the part where, oh, Christ, I can't remember his name, Tony Robinson plays him in the film version. It's like the guy who...
Baldric.
Yeah, not Baldric, but... there's like the Dogfrey, and my teacher was like, oh, this would have been the comedic bit of the light-hearted bit of the play, and I'm like,
yeah, there's bits where like we think Shakespeare's doing a pastiche of someone who was famous at the time, like a politician or something, and it's just kind of doesn't make sense to us now because we've lost the context.
Although I will say that was the thing that the Joss Whedon production actually, this is the main thing I remember about it, which I don't know what that tells you about that production. The main thing I remember is that I was surprised at how well they pulled that off. Like that didn't feel like something I was just putting up with to get to the better bit of the play. You know?
Which is very much how I feel about Doctor Who.
Yeah. So that was, I thought they did that very well. So, I mean, this is another thing I quite like about theatre and going to see theatre, is that if you get to see more than one production, I think with something you love, there's never been a production for me where I have agreed with absolutely every single decision that a director's made or that the actors have made. But every time they do something different that I wasn't expecting, every time somebody brings a spin on it and I'm like, damn, that's compelling, you know? And I would never have thought of it because you get used to, you know, you think of them as these static things. But if you go and see more than one version of the same thing, you get all these wonderful, weird, interesting, new takes on this stuff. And you're never going to be done. You know, there's never going to be a production, I think, where you go, this hits absolutely every single thing that I want from this. And so you keep going back.
It reminds me of that, like, Onion article. It's like, scientists find the last time zone or setting in which Hamlet has not yet been produced. And it's like, oh yes, like the Neolithic period, as some, like, you know, it's like really, really specific. And it's like, now we've done every possible Hamlet.
We've done every single variation on the theme.
I tell you what, this is a question that I had for you guys, actually, which was, if Hamlet was stuck in this play, if Hamlet just showed up in Messina when the action was taking place, what would he do in this? Would he make it better? Would he make it worse?
I think he'd just sulk in a corner. Like, I think he'd just sulk in a corner. He'd like be like sulking in a corner, sipping on some wine, just being broody. Like, and then also that corner's very dark. Like, it's just like very dimly lit, so it's just his shadow, just in a corner hiding,
like Aragorn.
Yeah, like Aragorn, but just like more, less brooding, more just sad.
I tell you what, this is the thing. I think if we're going with that, I think that actually solves the plot much earlier, because Hamlet, nobody notices that he's just sulking in all these dark corners. He's blending in. He's part of the scenery, so he's basically present for every single bit of scheming that Don John and his merry gang of criminals decide that they're gonna do. So he just walks straight. He just walks straight up to Don John and stabs him, and then the play's over. We're done now.
I like the idea of, like, he's there watching, like, overhearing this plotting takes place, and he just turns to make, like, full eye contact with the audience. Like, can you believe this shit? Are you hearing this?
Are you seeing this right now?
Yeah.
I think he would kill Claudio.
Yeah.
If Ophelia asked him, possibly. I don't know, I think he might just do a stabbing for fun. For fun and profit.
Although, if he's been transported here into Messina, like, he doesn't have to deal with seeing his horrible uncle and his mum, like...
That's true.
Be
That's
coupley.
true. It's a lovely holiday for him, yeah.
I was going to say, like, isn't the weather much nicer in Messina than it is in, like, probably Denmark at roughly the time that this
he's just like hiding in corners and hissing at the sun.
Brother's just got a little seasonal depression.
Like, Denmark is, like, cold, winter, there's no sunshine. Messina, you've got sunshine.
Yeah, no, you're right. He's
grapes,
like, it fixes the plot because he's no longer depressed, because the sun...
He has his vitamin D dosage.
Yeah.
He doesn't need a sun lamp, he just needed the sunshine.
Yeah.
That, you know, solve Hamlet by just giving him a sun lamp, and then he'll be fine.
Resolve all of the problems of grief with...
Which character do we take from Much Ado and put into the plot of Hamlet in recompense?
I'm trying to work out who's funniest. I think Beatrice would be...
I think Dogberry is funniest, no?
Oh, no!
Yeah.
He'd be
Dogberry
so
somehow fixing it without intending to.
Or the priest, putting the priest there, where he's like, oh, I'm just officiating a wedding, this is grand. It's like, okay, what the hell is going on with this really messed up family in Denmark?
Somebody
like,
just got stabbed through a curtain. What the fuck is going on here?
What is going on? Like, everybody's dead, Dave.
Rosencrantz and Guildenstern wind up in Much Ado and are just sitting there eating popcorn, being like, well, I have no idea what's going on.
This is much less stressful than being blackmailed by the monarch of my country to inform on my friend.
Yeah, let's just stay here. I like it here. These are very low stakes problems that we're having.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the only human in the Muppet adaptation of this play?
Did we really not answer this? Is this really...
No.
Wow.
No, but this wasn't a bit that we did in series one.
Oh my gosh.
No, but this was a
is
series
tasty
2
fresh.
bit, because
Before
we have done...
times. I feel like we've been doing this forever. Oh, who is the only human?
COVID did happen in the middle, so that does... Yeah. That was a subjective eternity did happen.
Yeah,
there,
you know, that just time warped everything, COVID. Yeah. The whole...
Wait, didn't we start this during COVID?
We did, but the first 2 series went out during COVID, just for context for anyone listening. We were doing the hands, face, space, and all that chanting and bashing pans at 8 p.m. to save the NHS.
Apologies to our listeners if you feel that, like, us going, oh my god, time has passed is like boring or annoying, because it will continue to happen with increasing frequency as we age.
It's going to happen every fucking episode. Yeah. We are like, I have a bad back now. This is my knees creak every morning. We're going to complain about the passage of time forever and ever and ever.
I'm also vamping because I can't decide who I think would be the human in the Muppet adaptation.
Well, the thing is, they're all quite
Don John,
aren't they?
I mean, Don John.
The priest, or some random background character in Messina, just like, oh, I know. You know at the start where the messenger comes from Messina with the message? That guy.
And he's taking his job quite seriously and is like,
and then everybody else is a Muppet. And then you get it out the way, and then you just have Muppet's version of,
I love that. I do also want to talk about Don John being the only human, because...
I'm a canker in the bush, I'm out of place here, nobody wants me. And it's because he's a person.
So the thing is, going back to the whole, the powerful homoeroticism, I really enjoyed it. The thing that the Kenneth Branagh and the Joss Whedon one have in common is that there's a bit of a vibe with one of the henchmen. There's a bit of a vibe.
Don John, not Don John. Yeah, Don John gets all like oiled up in the Kenneth Branagh one as well, right?
Yes, he's getting a massage from his henchman. Totally platonic massage from your henchman.
For no reason whatsoever. Now, I do think, did this film come out after The Matrix? Because there's somebody that was Kenneth Branagh a fan of The Matrix and was like, yeah, we need Keanu Reeves shirtless for absolutely no goddamn reason in this film, like.
But yes, if Don John is the only human, and we keep the interpretation that the henchman, let us keep shot for shot the Kenneth Branagh oiled up Don John scene, Reeves, but the guy giving the massage is a Muppet.
And afterwards the Muppet turns to look at the camera and does that thing that Kermit does when he crumples up his mouth to be like, ew. Because his hands are all covered in oil. And they've soaked into the felt. Gross.
Dear. I think Benedick and Beatrice should be Gonzo and Rizzo, and that's my...
Yeah, I like that very much.
Hot take on this.
Because obviously Hero and Claudio are Kermit and Miss Piggy.
Okay, you say this. Wait, no, hold on. Kermit is Hero.
Ooh.
Yeah? Yeah, because who do we know who in that partnership flies into jealous rages?
That's
This is
true.
not Kermit.
That's true.
This is true.
I love this. Yes.
No.
But they're the A couple, so they have to be the A couple.
Yeah, well, would they be Beatrice and Benedick though?
No, because they're the sort of secondary couple. Like, if you look at it as a romance.
So Beatrice and Benedick, is that big on Gonzo and Rizzo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I've said.
This is what I'm going with. Listen, I can't give you a thesis statement of it.
They're not the sort of young, eligible it couple, right? That's Hero and Claudio. They're older. They're people have sort of given up on trying to get them to do the thing that they're supposed to do, which is marry young and be enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
I saw a post on Tumblr recently about like why does this resonate with queer people, and like I don't know if that's a thing that like, you know, queer people in general have said that Much Ado resonates with them particularly. I personally love it. This queer loves it.
Yeah.
But because they're a non-traditional path to marriage, and the things they love about each other are not what society says that they should love about each other. Like, Benedict loves that Beatrice is a bitch, and she loves that he's a bitch. You know, and so...
Yeah.
But yes, all that to say, they're not the A couple.
Yeah. And I've seen very good queer interpretations that are sort of like, they're both bi in the kind of like mostly only attracted to the same gender, but with occasional exceptions. And they're really mad that this guy, are you kidding me? Yeah. This is my... But there's also that thing of like, well, if we got together, that's kind of the... I mean, this is some internalized biphobia stuff, really. But like, thing is, people do say it. If you get together with somebody of the other gender as a bisexual, people start going, oh, well, you're straight now. They forget you're queer. It just goes away. And they expect you to behave the way that straight couples behave in relationships. And I can see why you could do something really tasty with a production that was pushing that, the idea that it's not that they don't like each other. It's not even that they had a falling out. It's that there's this, they don't want to get together just because that's what...
It's demand avoidance.
Society, you know, this is what the heterosexual society that wants us to marry and have kids wants us to do. And it's a powerful... Well, now I am not doing it, you know? Yeah. Yeah, and it's a powerful force, and it does get between you and your own happiness sometimes. Not to get real serious on this mini episode here, but like seriously, it's really hard to get that image out of your head of what this is supposed to look like. And I can see a really good adaptation where that's the tension, is that they've been fighting this their whole lives to not get stuck in that awful picture.
Yes.
And yeah, I don't know. It could be tasty, could be fun, could be interesting.
Well, the other thing that's interesting in that angle is Don Pedro's offer of marriage to Beatrice as well, like through that lens, where because what he's offering her is also a bit like, oh, if we're both still single at this age, then let's get married type thing. And because you can play it ambiguously as to whether or not his interest in her is romantic, is genuinely romantic, or if he's just like, I think we'd have fun being, you know, queening out together. And so that, you know, there is potential for an alternate queer partnership there. Which Beatrice rejects. So there's juicy stuff there too.
See, but that's where I think the unless I might have another for working days line works, because you could very much make the argument that no matter how much for them it's a platonic, we're good friends who get on situation, because he's a prince,
they'd have to produce heirs,
and the pressure to be the exact dynamic that you're supposed to be, plus all of these extra responsibilities.
You have to put that on for show, even if it's not real, and that's something you don't want to do at all either. Even just performing it. Yeah,
and that comes too close. Yeah. That comes too close to the thing that she's avoiding, potentially. I gotta say, I think we talked about this with the original episode, but having just rewatched that scene again, I do think in the Kenneth Branagh one that Don Pedro does mean it. Like, I don't think he's heartbroken that she says no, but I think he does mean it in a romantic way. He is interested. He thinks that would be worth a shot.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that does is make the fact that he then turns round and starts matchmaking her and Benedick feel kind of odd, because
he needs to justify her rejection of him by having her be paired off.
Yeah, and with the David Tennant, Catherine Tate one, like, the prince comes across a lot more mean-spirited. Like, you do feel sorry for him. He is definitely in love with Beatrice. But there's this... they develop the through line of, this is the guy that would let Claudio do what he does at the wedding. Who would enable and support him to do what he does at the wedding.
Yeah.
That thread is established much earlier with the way that he handles being rejected by Beatrice. And I think if you take that, and then he turns around and is immediately trying to matchmake her with Benedick, that becomes a lot more mean-spirited, but also a lot more consistent.
I do love Denzel Washington, Don Pedro.
Oh, yeah, no,
I mean,
absolutely.
I love him in anything he does, so.
But he is really compelling in that. He does really, like, you forgive him anything because he's just so charming.
Yeah.
And, you know, he seems like just genuinely a really... Like, taking the no, he handles rejection really well. Mm-hmm. Which, you know, this is the play of handling rejection badly.
Yes.
That is true.
He is a bit the only grown-up in the room sort of character.
Yes. Until Benedick kind of does grow up and is like, actually, what if I did kill Claudio? What then? But anyway, yes, we are at 21 minutes, guys.
Which is a very good question to end the episode on. And if you want to hear us talk more about Much Ado, tell us, teachingmycattoread@gmail.com, or contact us on our website. But thank you all so much for listening. Remember to follow us on your podcast platform so you never miss an episode. And if you did enjoy this episode, please consider giving us a like or review. It does mean the world to us, and we do see them, and it does make our souls and our hearts very happy. So say hello, send us a message, and recommend us some books to read. Big virtual hugs, and we will see you next time. Bye.